Hey, what's going on, guys? I was attempting to get some things set up here, and then ZBrush just crashed on me randomly, so I said, just screw it, we'll just go. We'll do it live. But yeah, I wanted to import the little house that we were working on from earlier and show you guys that. Immortal, welcome to the stream. It's 5:30 a.m. and you left. Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. If it's 5:30 in the morning, wherever you are, go get some sleep, guys. Let's see here. So let me see if I can import this. Yeah, it's not I don't know why, but the little house we were playing with earlier is not importing for some reason right now. That's not a big deal. We can just work on the stylized female anatomy some more. So it's not the end of the world there. But sorry that's not working out. Here's the recovered file. I don't know if that's an older one or what. We won't worry about it though. We'll just load back our quick save there. Latest quick save, and we'll work on our stylized female anatomy some more. Maybe the let me restore my config here. Looks like there we go. Alright. So looking at the hands or just some different parts. I started playing with adding some breasts, but I don't know if we'll look any more at that. But yeah, we'll play with this for a while, and I'll answer any questions that I can. There's actually a lot of stuff that I want to tweak on this character as we go forward. But let's see, Shiro blank, white blank. Hello, what's going on? 2 a.m. You people are so funny. Oh, it's 5 a.m. It's 2 a.m. Seems like the only time people watch streams is it has to be at least 1 in the morning. Doesn't count unless it's at least 1 in the morning. Alright, so I want to start here by tweaking my knee. Not my knee, but her knee, because it's been really bothering me. And just kind of attempt to slide that up a little bit and work with this shape to try to make it, well, for one, that shadow that it's casting seems to be really dark, and I think that's just due to this curve, which we kind of want, but I want it to be more uniform all the way up. So I'm going to try to capture that a little bit better. And I might delete one of my legs so that I can see my inner edge there. Typically helps a little. Helps a lot, actually. But yeah, just trying to blend that a little bit more through there. Let's delete lower and grab only one of our legs so that we can kind of see this thing 360 and get in the middle in the inside portion here. Trying not to go too strong. That shadow, definitely a lot less now. No. think I want to tighten this up a little and then try to maybe pull this through the corners. You can see this little bit of shading we get through there. Kind of want to avoid that. I don't know. You can see if we can pull that edge down. See if that helps. Starting to turn that surface a little bit more. Trying not to lose the form of the knee that I've already created there, because I don't want to lose that. I want to keep that shape. Try to clean some of this up now. So we've been a little lazy with our clay brush. Trying to use my pinch brush to get the surface to turn a little bit here. And pretty much just soften that out. We got that to turn a little bit there. You can see the shadow that's being cast there. I can move my light. You can see where it starts to come into shadow there. have a little bit of a concavity in here. We might want to try to just blend that out a little bit. Alright, so kind of shifting those knees up and then doing a lot of cleanup to kind of fix that and improve the way it looks. So I think we've kind of accomplished that pretty well there. And we might return to it later. For the time being, I'm happy with it. I don't know if you guys have seen the changes. I briefly showed them, I think, this morning, some of the changes that I've done up here. I've done a lot. I've combined a lot of geometry on our arms. Let me grab that extra, or that older version. Alright, we don't even have the, I don't have it anymore. That's not a big deal. Alright. So some of the stuff that we've made, some of the changes that we've made since then, quite a few. Let's go ahead and plop that down. Proportional changes. I've shortened the arms, I've shortened the legs, made the head smaller. The shape of this head wasn't really anything final, and neither is this. None of this is final. It's all about getting all the parts and pieces closer together at the same time, minus our hands, because we really haven't done much to those since very early, and I would like to take more of a look at those. But yeah, just a lot of changes to the torso, the rib cage, and kind of adding some additional form, simplifying other stuff that we got going on, rounding out the torso, the rib cage a little bit. Lots and lots of changes, lots of progress. Let's see here. This is our very first version. This was, I think, closer to a 7 heads tall figure, and just proportionally. And I've made a lot of changes to it since then. But yeah, just so you can get an example or an idea of where we have gone thus far and where we are now. But yeah, a little bit of changes to the head, so I'm sure that looks a little bit more clean than it used to. For the collarbone here, I've been thinking about merging it into the chest. I'm just not... I want to turn off the arms here, I'll show you. I'm not entirely sure how I want to handle some of this. I don't know, let's duplicate it, hide the extra piece there, and merge on down. So this is what it looks like when the arms are not visible. Kind of slot in there, and the deltoid wraps around your collarbone there, which is correct. I'm just trying to represent that in a simplified, kind of stylized form here. Let's go ahead and Dynamesh this. And try to blend this a little bit. I want to be careful here. It's really easy to lose a lot of your form that you've created with your smooth brush, so I don't know, turn down the strength of that brush, or just kind of use it with your pressure sensitive pen very, very lightly. I use most of my brushes extremely lightly when I'm pressing with my pen. Just because there's such a variation in stroke that you can make just between those, you know? It's pretty easy to, like I said, come through here and destroy a lot of the good form that you've built up. You don't want to do that. This is actually Dynameshing lower than I thought it would. Which isn't a huge problem. We can get most of this back. So I only have one breast applied at a time, similar to my legs when I'm working on those. If you can see here, yeah, this one. If I mirror and weld this, it's going to connect this geometry here. I don't want that to happen yet. So just while I'm working on those, I like to keep them separated. I would like to now merge my... Ooh, let's take this. Place this up top. We don't want that anymore. So my deltoid, what I'm going to do is essentially to blend between these two separated points. I'm going to attach part of the deltoid to my chest, but also keep it on my arm. It's a technique that I do for a lot of stuff when I'm just kind of trying to blend some separated tools or subtools together. Trying to get this to flow with the shapes that I already have there a little bit better. I don't want... It's a little loud for me. Distracting. I don't want any weird stuff to connect where the armpit would be. Any weird meshes getting in the way there. So I want to be very careful and selective here. I think that's good. I also want to blend between this point, between my pec and my deltoid a little bit. But up towards the clavicle, I want to have a little bit more of a divot. So there's a small fossa up there. And this is, I think, going to help a lot of stuff with blending. Now your collarbone isn't so much visible from in your deltoid, but really what happens there is there's a little flat landmark where no muscle sits on top of it. And you can see this if you look at a lot of bodybuilders who have really huge deltoids, because that's where it's most visible. But yeah, it creates this little flat there, and it's just a really interesting shape. And if we can kind of get that in there just a little bit, we don't have to go crazy, but just trying to represent that in there a little bit, I think will help us out. And I wanted to make all of these changes before I did anything with the breasts as well, because they're all a huge kind of proponent of that shape. I mean, they components of that shape, I should say. The pecs especially, which is why I have those kind of already starting to merge on here, which I'm glad that we've kind of began getting that there. And now our deltoids from our arms, we're probably gonna tweak these in some way to probably just kind of subduct under what we've already created here. And then we don't have to worry too much about blending those later, as they're pretty much just on top of each other. So that's why I do this, and we're getting there. I think I need to keep messing with this shape a little bit more from my pecs to my delts, and just try to improve that form. It's a little sloppy. Remesh that and try to make that a little bit easier to work with as well. So just a Z remesh. I am, let's see here. I think we're actually fine with 2K resolution. And then we'll just project on top of that. It was a little bit more complicated than that before, I think, and it had 2000 for the base subdiv level as well, so should be okay. You can see how far I've tweaked that pec already, making these changes. I think I'm happy with that. A little bit more of that hourglass shape. I think I've lost a little bit of the roundness of the ribs in making those changes. So just try to get that back. It's really hard as you start to add these additional forms to something like this. Trying not to lose that original thing that you were going after. Trying to line that that up with the arm just a little bit better. Let me know if you guys, at least the ones watching on YouTube, are experiencing any buffering or lag. I'm trying, there's this little option in OBS called your keyframe interval, and it was recommended to me that I adjust that and change that from some software that I use. And my video output right now is red, in the red. Hello, not good. So if it's lagging for you, let me know. And you know, when we used to stream with the other option, the other keyframe interval, it would still do this, but not for this long. It would just do it for like a minute or so maybe, but I'll keep an eye on it. If it's acting really weird, if I notice that it's being a lot worse than what it normally is, we can switch it back. Won't be an issue. Alright, so we've kind of got our collarbone on here, which is pretty strong shape right now. I'm okay with that because it's a lot easier to kind of take something down, knock it back, than it is to build it up, in my opinion. So I'm gonna kind of leave it how it is for now. And I like to exaggerate stuff and then push it farther than it should go and then bring it back after that. But yeah, let's go ahead and let me see here. Yeah. You have some breasts here. Ugh. I need to tweak that one. Okay, let's actually do that real quick. It's gonna go and work on the hand, but we'll do this first. So I wasn't doing this on stream, I was doing this yesterday. I was using these poly groups to Z-remesh in a specific pattern, but right now I don't need that anymore. So I think I'm just gonna Z-remesh with the standard default settings at around, we'll do 1K. Really, I don't need a ton of geometry here. Now I have the pec merged onto this teardrop breast shape. And if you guys have seen my how to sculpt breast tutorial, then you know why I do that. If not, you can find it on my YouTube channel. But if you want like a little bit of a more in-depth kind of tutorial on how to do this. But essentially the idea is, well, the pec, I have the rough pec shape sculpted in there and attached. The pec kind of blends into the breast, and there's fat and everything else in here that's helping that shape blend. And we're a little low right now. Let's try this. Essentially we're going for that teardrop shape and then blending the rest into our pec. It seems that during our tweaks though we've kind of got a little off positionally. So I'll try to correct that. So for the breast you're looking for that teardrop shape. Whoops. What the heck? Come on. And then for the connection point, you can see it pretty well right now if you follow this shadow. So coming up to its apex about right there. Pretty crappy teardrop shape. But coming down from there, so what you can do, turn off perspective, can somewhat draw a line through that point down to the nipple if you want to help find that as well. But from the front view you should be able to kind of see, you can kind of exaggerate it here a little bit, that kind of connection. And I've smoothed it and I've softened it and I've blended it into this pec shape quite a few times, just trying to blend that over iteration after iteration. And what that helps me do at the same time, it helps me get some really subtle, nice shapes in here. So you can see that we get this nice S-curve as it starts to blend up, as opposed to it just kind of, you know, going into the mesh and then stopping completely. So that that smooth transition that we get is also coming from having the pec on there. And what I'll begin doing, what I'll probably do if I'm happy with that, I need to look at my reference of stuff that I'm kind of working with here, figure out size and shape and everything a little bit better. But once I'm happy with it, I will merge that shape onto my chest piece, my torso here. I'll smooth it out and shrink it in, and then that will help, similarly to what we did with the deltoid here. If you just saw that when I cut off the deltoid and then merged part of it into our torso as well, it'll be pretty much the same process there. And of course we will mirror that over, and I can go ahead and do a subtool master mirror because that doesn't merge geometry, and that's a little bit more helpful for what we're looking for. The shape isn't quite there yet. I need to play with it more, especially after kind of tweaking the chest some, that main shape of the chest, now that we've added in our deltoids and our pecs. And play with all that, and we'll get a lot closer. But yeah, just trying to find an appealing shape, and I don't need to really mess with these too much right now, but I just want to try to find that a little bit better there. And I don't want to, so she's going to be wearing clothing, this character, so that's gonna, if she's wearing a bra or something that's holding her breast in place, going to bring them closer together, whereas naturally they would be out to the sides a lot more. I have a ton of just stylistic characters with tons of different references that I am using for this character, so I'm trying to pull a lot of inspiration from different places. A lot of what I'm doing though is kind of going proportionally off of an image that I showed you guys in a couple streams ago. And I'll actually just import that now so that I can kind of visually pull that up. So this is my proportional guide that I've been using. And we'll turn off spotlight projection. This is an earlier version of the character that I'm working on, not the finished version. So let's turn off spotlight projection and we should be good there. So once you get something in place and you're happy with it and you want to keep it in the same place on your canvas, I like to use my movie timeline to store some frame data. It's used for little animations, but I tend to use it for, let's see here, for this. And now I can kind of interpolate between those if I want to. Pretty much I just want them for those two positions though. There's a couple other ways that you can store positional data on your document as well, but this is the way that I like to do it. So yeah, I've been using this to kind of line up different things, so you know, the basic kind of size of the head, where my collarbones are, essentially the top of my torso, top of my rib cage about, bottom of my rib cage roughly, hips, slash top of my legs. The hips will be a little bit closer to where my red line is right there now, my transpose line there. Bottom of the crotch, knee placement, and you can see her knee would be roughly right there, which is where ours are after we have kind of shifted those up, so we're a lot closer to that. And around the ankle, transitioning into the foot. So that's what I've been using. And then I use that for the hands as well, for the arms, and finding that pretty much you want your elbow, if you can kind of draw an arc and imagine, we can just maybe pick a rotation point here and rotate that down a little bit. You pretty much want your elbow to line up with where your belly button is, so if that's happening, which it is for us, you're in a pretty good position. With your wrist, at least for this case, we're making our wrist a little bit lower. You can see her hand dips pretty far down. So that's what we're kind of trying to achieve here. So this is my kind of proportional guide, and I've just been kind of playing with mainly just secondary forms now, trying to get to a good place. But yeah, I want to kind of look at my hands next on the list, and make some improvements in that area. I don't have a lot of reference for these stylized hands. So in there right now, this is an insert multi-mesh brush, insert multi-mesh fingers and toes. If you Google IMM fingers and toes brush, you will find this, and you can download it from Gumroad. Definitely support that artist for creating this brush. It's a very cool brush. I love it. Allows you to get some really quick, kind of just basic finger and toe shapes in. You have a 3-pad finger and a 2-pad finger that you can use, as well as, I think, a 2-pad and a 3-pad toe. So yeah, for the basic shape of the hand, I've kind of just roughed this geometry in here really, really quick, and it's effective. Good for now, or was good up till now, for just kind of being a good placeholder. But yeah, I don't know what I want to do with this, to be completely honest. I actually have a lot of, I was saying in our last let's see, yes, yesterday's morning stream, so not our last morning stream, but our second to last morning stream, that I hate sculpting hands. I really do. So I wanted to maybe find a base to start from, a little bit closer to finished than what we have right now. I don't hate sculpting hands. I just hate putting the time into hands when they barely get looked at. Because hands just take me a long time to sculpt, and it's not really worth the time at the end of the day, it feels like. So I have more than a few hands in my archive, so I'm just kind of looking through right now, and I could use the base shape of the hand from this model. This is my female base mesh that I use a lot, so I could import that and use that. I might do that. Let's see, because I believe, let's see, my base mesh split version. I'll look at my split version first. This is the split version where all the geometry is still separated into separate parts. I also have the non-split version here. So geometry is combined a little bit more cleanly on this one. But it looks like in the split version my hands are actually at the same level as this one here. Or wait. No, this looks like my hands are a little bit further. Okay. So I'll steal my hands off of this one and append those and just kind of see what I can work with. So delete other, okay. That deletes everything except for your selected subtool there. And that one I can delete as well, don't need that. Kind of want to not have a crap ton of extra geometry in my ZBrush project file when it quick saves. Sorry I'm yawning so much, guys. I've been at this computer all day. And I was gonna go to the gym like I normally do, but got caught up having to work on some other stuff. If you haven't already, check out the Art Anonymous episode that went up today. It's a really good one. It's a good place to kind of jump in and listen for the first time if you have not already. And if you don't know what Art Anonymous is, it's a podcast that myself and my friend who is a traditional sculptor, his name is Daryl. It's a podcast that we do together. And we just kind of talk about art and answer some community questions and have a good time. And here soon we're going to be doing, I guess you could call them critiques, kind of. I don't really want to spoil it. I think I told you guys that in trying to align this and talk at the same time and my brain is not working. But last Friday we recorded an entire episode, and unfortunately our audio got destroyed. We were trying to do a recording setup with 2 microphones instead of our normal one, just to improve the quality of the audio, and it sounded way better for one of us, for me. But Daryl's mic had like become disconnected or something. Something caused it to drop all of its audio that it recorded. So unfortunately we lost all that, and that was pretty shitty, but you know, there's nothing that you can really do about that except for be better the next time. So not a huge deal, but it does suck when that kind of stuff happens. And so next time we're gonna try to take precautions to not let those audio tracks just magically disappear. But yeah, the audio quality is going to improve a lot once we do record with that 2 mic setup. The idea is, if you guys don't do a lot of recording here, this hand is too big. If you don't do a lot of audio recording, essentially like the main thing that you should do when recording audio is turn what's called your levels down as low as humanly possible. your levels are pretty much your pickup essentially. So how much, how loud the audio is going to be, let's say. So if you turn that down really, really low, it doesn't pick up any background music or not music, but background noise or ambient noise in the room. You get really close to your microphone and you talk directly into it, and because it's levels, it's recording at like just the bare minimum. It pretty much only picks up your voice, and then you just boost the audio in post and it works out great. So when we record with 2 people, we can't really get right up on the microphone because then Daryl and I would be like squished face to face, and we're not really that kind of friends, you know. We're really good friends, but just we're not that close. So we've opted to go with the 2 mic setup, and hopefully we can get it to work for the next time. There will be more info on that for next week's episode. But yes, this episode that came out today on my YouTube channel, check it out, Art Anonymous. I had a lot of fun recording some cool stuff for that, and I think you guys will like it a lot too. Alright. So what we're looking at how big do I want this hand to be? Pretty much want your hand to be as big as your face. Ooh. So let's see here. Kind of measure this out and get our transpose unit value. So roughly 0.33 units long for the head. So that means that we want our hand to be roughly 0.33 units. So that's 0.27 there for that big slab of a hand there. You can see that our hands are much smaller than our head here. So let's actually do this instead. Grab our transpose tool and figure out what these hands are. So it's all aligned in here, measured to my head. So this should be a pretty accurate number here. Actually, let me do this. Now it'll be an accurate number. And the wrist is probably a little bit in there, so do something like that and get 0.28 units. So what was this? I think it was 0.27, 0.26, 0.27. So that's actually pretty close to the length that we are looking for. So I probably already measured that once and just forgot. So what I want to do is, I don't want to use the fingers that I have on this. I do want to use the basic palm shape, because it's better than what I've kind of kicked together really quick here. So let's try that. Let's try to line up our palm with our other one. So transparency, and just try to get that into position. Not worrying about my wrist or anything else there, and I'm actually going to delete this excess geometry that we don't need. And we will use those primitive shapes that we have for our fingers and thumb. So from here, just delete hidden, and we can do a close hold operation. turn off transparency, and we can just delete this. Don't need that anymore. And turn on our arm and try to line up some stuff a little bit better, transitioning from our wrist to our hand. I do want to get that bump out though of the wrist, so essentially you can kind of see it a little bit there. We can look at some real people so that you can get an idea of what that looks like. Look up some references and you'll see what I'm talking about, but we want to try to get that a little bit better. So I think let's just do this. Just temporarily merge that together. And our wrist transition is a little thick here. So we can try to do a better job and blend that. I have this kind of tapering down into a point, so I can kind of thicken up some of this as well and not feel too bad about it. Don't want to go too crazy though. And I'll probably end up pinching towards the top up here to really emphasize that transitional point in the surface. So 1 and 2 down. So 1, 2. And we might give our wrist a little bit more twist. So try to get that in there a little bit more at this stage. And also lining up our fingers with our hand a little bit better. Let's actually just split our fingers and hand now so we don't do anything we regret and not be able to undo it for some reason. Get a crash or something like that. Would be unfortunate. And I'm going to turn off my arm because it's getting in the way. I'm going to have to probably adjust the proportions of my fingers. Not entirely sure how this is looking compared to the whole yet, the whole character. So we'll zoom out here in just a moment and look at that. So I'm not worried about the transition being too ugly there right now. It's not that big of a deal. But yes, much better. Much better than the block that we just had in place there. There's a lot more form in here, and I can kind of take this and very quickly kind of play with it and style it up and still keep a lot of those major forms and transitions in play, which is what I was looking for. I just don't want to resculpt an entire hand. I'd rather kind of play with something I already have and figure out what forms we're looking for along the way. Pretty ugly through there. think I want to simplify a lot of this. Kind of clean up some of these lines and make that look a little bit cleaner from the front view for sure. I think a lot of people struggle with fingers in when they're kind of starting in ZBrush, and they end up dynameshing a lot of them together. What I like to do is keep them separated into separate groups, which is what I'm doing right now, and I can even separate them into different subtools, and then if I'm going to dynamesh and merge those together, I'll just spread the fingers out wide enough to where that doesn't affect them, which really isn't that wide. You shouldn't have to go crazy there. Alright, so now we have polygroups for those, and it makes it really nice and easy for us to select one at a time and just kind of pull that shape up. And just kind of get the arc of the fingers there a little bit more naturally. I don't really have a lot to go off of for my hands, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle these, honestly. So let's play around and find something that we like. Whoa. Spychar, how's it going? Howdy. Howdy to you too. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just working on my stylized female anatomy character. And, well, trying to work on the hand right now, I guess. And figure out how I want to stylize this. Oh gosh, I'm trying to get this wrist form to turn and it's not cooperating. I think I just need to blend it with my forearm there. Might help. Don't know why that keeps happening. Figured there was some geometry in there that was freaking out. It's annoying. See if we can just do this twice, get a little weird vertice, and say forget it. One more time there. The heck? It really wants to do that, huh? Alright. Guess we'll just leave it in there. Trying to see how much form I lost there on the Z-Mesh. I think it simplified it pretty well. Let's try merging a couple things here. This wrist piece is our connection point between the hand and the wrist there. So I'll merge it into both and duplicate it. So I have it on there, and I'll be able to blend it into both, and then it'll help get rid of the seam between the two. My scale must have got messed up some way. 'Cause my Dynameshes are way smaller than they were previously. Need to really crank that resolution up. I feel like I'm hiding behind my Cintiq here. I just don't want to look down. Kills my neck. So I just did a Subtool Master mirror, and I figured there would be something wrong there. So I did that operation, and it didn't mirror across the axis, so I just pressed the F key, which is frame, and it showed me that it did this instead. And that's because this shares the name of that subtool, or whatever it originally was, and Subtool Master kind of freaked out on us there a little bit. And thought it probably still had that in memory somewhere or something, so that's not a big deal. We'll just mirror and weld instead for now, and then just reconstruct our subdivs. So not a big deal. So there are our new hands and fingers that we've kind of got rocking right now. So a lot more clean, a lot more simplified, maybe a little too simplified, but I don't know. I think I don't like this line quite so much. I think I'm fine with the one on the back side. This one I think I want to play with a little bit more. Maybe do something like the clothing has got going on there. How it kind of wraps around the thumb. So a little bit more of that arc or something like that. That also helps to separate the thumb there, and also the pad of the thumb on the palm side. I don't know. I think for the time being I will maybe soften that form a little bit here. That's why it's important to zoom out while you're working on this stuff and really get a look at the larger picture. You get so stuck in your own head looking at it when it's so small, and then you zoom out and whoops, you hate everything about it. Not quite that bad this time, but you get the idea. I don't know, maybe something like that. I'm kind of just splitting these into poly groups, and if I Z-remesh with keep groups on, it'll kind of separate those a little bit more strongly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to mess with those right now anymore. Kind of move on to something else here. Basic shapes of the head. I'm always so scared of this shape here on the cheek of like anime style characters' heads, it's really hard to represent in 3D. And I think there's an anime character here. I think it might be a project. I have a tool that I can import so I don't have to switch projects. Let me load that in real quick. I have it somewhere here in my archive. There it is. So yeah, this is I don't remember where I got this. I think this might be the same. Maybe it's not. I'm pretty sure I got it from in here somewhere. If not, and anybody's super curious or wants this, I don't want to give this away in case I paid for this at one point and it's somebody's content. But if anybody knows where this is from, let me know and I can share it with you guys, or share where I acquired it with you guys. But yeah, you can kind of see it's pretty exaggerated here. You can kind of see it a little bit here in this base anime head is used for a lot of you know, anime vinyl figures, and this is actually even split up and somewhat articulated, which is pretty cool. Centering on that point. See, this is actually bad articulation in ZBrush. When you articulate in ZBrush, you want to use cylinders. And the reason you use cylinders is that you can get perfect pivots with cylinders here. So let me show you. So I could probably, with enough tweaking, turn this sphere joint into a cylinder joint with a perfect pivot. It would just be like a lot of lining up and reworking. I don't know if I could. I think there is a way. You can kind of replace that, but it has to be on an insert. Let me show you here real quick what I'm talking about. I used to do a lot of jointing of characters for articulation for museum and amusement park figures and toys and stuff, so. It's pretty much the same here. It's exactly the same. But if I wanted to line this sphere and cylinder up and have the same angle of rotation, it would be a little tough. So here's what I would do. I would first, well, actually, let's do this. So, up and down arrow keys, switch subtools. So, sphere, cylinder, I'm gonna go into position on the sphere, take this value, copy it. Actually, I don't think you can paste numbers, so 3726, 3726, 52933, 52993, and last number 4934. 4934. So now that sphere and cylinder share the exact same position, and 33, not 993, 33. There we go. So now they share the exact same position there. And now to get the rotation, I can't really. So unfortunately, I'll have to kind of do it manually here. And come up here. What I would do to see this edge a little bit better there, and it looks like Looks like our sphere isn't even oriented correctly, and the sphere isn't even a good sphere. So our rotation's not even going to be correct. But what I would do if the sphere was oriented correctly for the pivot point, I would line up the angle of the cylinder here and try to rotate it and get that as perfect as possible. And I could get it within less than 0.1 of a degree, probably even closer. But now that those are like lined up there, essentially what you do, oh, there's a merged mesh here as well for the body. That's nice to work with. But back here, so here's my cylinder. Here's my transpose tool. You know that transpose tool that y'all hate? There's a vertice. Click that vertice, and now I can rotate perfectly around that vertice. And that also means that I can grab an arm, and I don't know why my transpose tool moved, but click that vertice, grab my arm. Is that a new thing? Oh my gosh. So now, let me make sure here. That's new. That's not a big deal. But when you, I don't think that's true. Let me see something here. So you can alt-click to select subtools. Maybe it was just the brush I had. And when you alt-click to select a subtool, okay, yeah, so it's not moving my transpose tool. I wonder if that's like a thing with insert multi-mesh brushes. So transpose tool is there. Back to the brush. Click here. Transpose tool is not moving. So I don't know, that was like a little glitch, I think. Really, I don't know what caused that. But maybe it's, yeah, my transpose tool is not moving now. Really, no idea what the hell was going on there. ZBrush is all over the place. So, click on that vertice. Now I can rotate around that perfectly, as long as I have rotate selected, by clicking that inner circle. Rotate, rotate. That also means that I can, you know, select this arm and rotate this arm perfectly around that joint, that cylinder. So that's why you use cylinders for this type of thing. And then you would, you know, take your hand here, and if you're trying to check for constraints to make sure that things don't collide with each other at a certain degree, you can figure out your degree of tolerance there and all that stuff. And you can get specific degrees of rotation with the transpose tool by messing with your rotation steps here, but I'm not going to go into all of that. Let's see here. Katie says, I need to find a small passion project to get my head back into 3D. What's a series of film or video game characters, or just a film, a movie, a game, a book, something that you love? Love, 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 love. What is it? Pick that and try to do something fun from one of those. Like I love Nintendo stuff, so do something. Do something like this level of quality. Like, this took me an hour, maybe? maybe two, probably not. But yeah, I just like merged a bunch of simple shapes together. This is rendered in ZBrush. It took an hour or two. I love Nintendo, and I had a lot of fun working on it. And I think it turned out fun. It turned out cool, and it's not like anything crazy. It's not blended in a lot of places, but it was fun, and I had fun working on that. Or like the Bowser Jr., or like this one's more polished, more finished, but like that Wario sculpt, I think that was better. More of what I meant there by something quick and fun and something that you love. Whew! Whew! What are we doing here on time? Close to the 2-hour mark. I want to keep going on this though for now. We've done a lot to the hands. And some to the chest. We'll sneak in the boobs here at the end. We know YouTube's not gonna watch the whole stream, right? Come on. I absolutely can't add these in the thumbnail. I'll just immediately get demonetized right away. Whoops. Sorry about that. I was looking for a different one. Looking for Photoshop there. Let me close that. So I need to kind of worked on blending these some. Need to do a little bit of a better job though. I can't see this shadow. My brushes? Okay. I thought my pressure sensitivity was janked up. Trying to force my surface to turn. This is the initial shape. And essentially what we're looking for is to get rid of that and instead make it more like that, but turn even sooner. We kind of got it going on a little bit. Let me look in my archive here. Oh, wait. I'm looking for this. All right. This is what happens when you work with symmetry with something that's going across the symmetrical axis. It's really annoying, actually. Catherine says, you hate when that happens too. Yeah. That's why I typically just work on, like, my legs. I'll work on one at a time. Like, I'll hide the other one and just work on one. And these are separate meshes here that are not merged with mirror and weld because I wouldn't be able to separate those anymore. Plus, you get a lot cleaner interaction between stuff when the vertices aren't merged. It's a lot better. I think I'm gonna make two versions of this. One in a resting position and another as if she were wearing a bra. Something to push them up and add volume in this direction, essentially. So up and in. Not quite that that simple of a movement though, because that looks like crap. Mostly work with Dynamesh, so don't worry about merging stuff until it's time to retop though. Yeah. Yeah, I just flip back and forth at will. depending on if I need subdivs or not. So like for something like this, it's like, oh well, I'm just kind of using some of my brushes to adjust the form, the major forms here, and then I'll Z-remesh pretty low to get a very simplified version, but still hold most of the major forms. But some of this was starting to like affect the form here as it tucked in. It's annoying, like you said. And another thing I'll do is a Dynamesh subtraction on something like the body. And let's actually do that now, just so I can show you an example of this and how I use it. It's a Boolean subtraction, but I'm not going to use like Boolean because it's too simple of an operation to need that. So I'm just putting this on subtract, putting this on positive, merging down. Actually, will this work? Okay, it did. Normally you have to have Dynamesh active on the top piece for that to work. But yeah, now when I smooth this out, it's going to begin subducting that surface like so. And we'll grab this. This is just a little trick here. That's nice. That's not part of the trick. But yeah, doing that now, now I can get a really nice kind of bubbling out effect, essentially. Again, right now I'm making this as if the character in its final state will be nude, but I don't want to do that. Chunk on the inside doesn't matter. You just kind of fill it in or leave it. Just do a quick fill in, enough to the point where when I Z-remesh this, 5 is fine probably. It'll be a little bit more clean back there. Yep, so just using that low poly mesh to my advantage to be able to modify and tweak some of these a little bit easier. And again, that tuck in there is really helping us get a nice kind of transition there. Making a base mesh, question mark. Not for repurpose, no. Working on a character for the ZBrush Art War. So right now creating, I guess, the base of that character, yes. Since its proportions are fairly heavily stylized here. But yeah, we can plop that in there. So yeah, our proportions are pretty close thus far from what we've done, what we've been working on the stream. So right now, let's see. I don't think I've saved this. We haven't done too much overall. Mainly what we've done is look at the hands, the chest, a little bit of the knees. Most of our work was on the hands though, and cleaning those up and making them a little bit more simplified shape there. But let's see. 2A. So yeah, this was the mesh when we started here, and that's an anime character, and there are the adjustments that we've made. So our hands were pretty crappy, as you can kind of see here, just kind of blocks that we had positioned on there. So a lot of cleanup went into that, as well as like I said, the chest to the delts to the arms, as well as our collarbone, kind of merging that in there, kind of working with this shape, and a little bit in the knees there. You can kind of see some cleanup in the knees and legs happening. So I was kind of trying to get rid of some harsh shadows down there that was happening, and that works pretty well. So yeah, lots of stuff that we've done this time around. But yeah, now just working on the shape of the breast here. Just one breast. But like I said, I want to try doing 2 versions of these, so like a relaxed version. Let's try and mirror. A relaxed version, maybe something like this, and then a version as if they were wearing a bra or something. Let's do an auto groups here. So something a little bit more pressed together, like I said, for a version of as if you were wearing a bra or something. So I don't know. I'm kind of just playing with the basic form though for now. Might do Art War After Riot contest. I didn't know there was a Riot contest going on. Sounds fun though. I'm assuming you're participating in that if you're saying after that. Is the character light or dark? It's a dark character. I'm gonna do something kind of in the spirit of Red Riding Hood-esque. Think characters like Ruby Rose from Ruby, Rory Mercury from Gate, and those kind of characters that are cute and unassuming, and but also really strong. So that's the objective here. So this is a not a final concept, but I'm not showing off the concept yet. This is more of just for some proportions here and some stuff that I'm working on. But yeah, let's see. ArtStation, my Art War post here. These are some really early concepts. So I'm kind of taking a lot of stuff from 5 and 6 here. I'm not really a huge fan of any of these, but yeah, just kind of taking some stuff from here. I want to do like a bigger weapon for the character. So if you guys don't know who Rory Mercury is, gate, thus the JSDF font there. I think she's a goddess or something. But yes, she has this giant axe, and yeah, so she's like a cute and unassuming character, but she whips through and kills a bunch of dudes, and it's awesome. It's great. It's also a really nice PVC figure of her. But yeah, so something cute, unassuming, big old weapon, and play around with that. Haven't been working on it too long though, and we're trying to get a really good base here to work off of, so try to get some really strong initial proportions, make sure that we're kind of going in the right direction with everything, and I know I want to be really happy with this before I kind of jump ahead, so I try to do a really good job. This is my anterior superior iliac crest here, and I've been neglecting to merge this into our legs, so I think it's finally time we do that. But yes. Oh, excuse me. Catherine, if you're doing the riot contest, yeah, if you finish in time, definitely jump on the art war. Love to see what you work on and create. So let's merge this down here. I also kind of want to blend some of the torso into our legs, and it's a little harder to do this without merging down here. So essentially what I'm going to do is delete a bunch of stuff from the lower section. Merge that. Oh, come on. And let me make sure this is correct. Kind of already blended that. So I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and do it. Don't need any extra geometry up in there. Hopefully you'll have time, yeah. Absolutely. This kind of served as a placeholder for us to figure out where some muscles and some major forms needed to go before. Now I'm thinking we just kind of obliterate it completely. Maybe not. Maybe just try to turn the edge a little bit better. get a nice curve there. We keep messing with it. Still a little too much. Let's go for something more subtle, I think. Really, it's not a huge deal because it's kind of covered up, I think, by our outfit. You can't really see it too much, but we have a skirt going on. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on something so small and fairly insignificant at this point. If I could say the words. My brain is kind of fried at this point. Looking to clean up that arc there. We're actually pretty good there. Ah, crap. I fudged it. Deleted at a lower subdiv. I forgot I had that in there. Hopefully it goes through. I'm gonna undo it. That's good. Just duplicate, get some subdivs back in. Alright. I'm going to project this and clean it up just a little bit and then bounce on out of here. Projection. What's your section? Junction. Alright. Definitely emphasize that curve a little bit more, and now, you know, with lower subdivs it makes it really easy to get in there if I need to. And push that a little bit further, quite easily. And then of course, you know, we'll do a Subtool Master Mirror so we can jump on over to the other side. Just make sure everything's looking good. Takes our subdivs with it and everything else. Yep. And can turn off all this extra crap. I don't need that anymore. Can turn all that off. But yeah, get a better idea of how our legs are looking and kind of blending into our body. And I'll probably take our little iliac crest nub down, probably even more, but we can save that for later, for our next stream. But yes, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. For those that popped in here a little bit later, sorry about kind of the quiet boy tonight. My brain is kind of fried. And let's see here. Before I go, Art Anonymous, a new episode of Art Anonymous came out today, and it's a good one. Episode 4. We got some cool stuff going on. But yeah, check it out. That's our new logo there, this thing. If you have not listened to it yet, it's a podcast where a digital and traditional sculptor talk about art, the meaning of life, and everything in between. But yeah, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. Zorro says thank you. Absolutely. Thanks for coming and hanging out, man. But yes, tomorrow we will have our, you know, normal schedule morning stream, so come and hang out on that if you are around. That'll be Eastern Standard Time US, and we will be around let's see, 10 to 11 a.m. If you follow me on Twitter or if you subscribe here, that's probably the best way to figure out when I'm going to be streaming. But around there, 10 or 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, we'll do our night stream tomorrow night as well, same time as tonight. And, yeah, anything else? If you're interested in my materials or brushes or anything, you can grab those on my Gumroad. There's a link down in the description and all that. You guys know about all that stuff, though. So, I think that's all. You guys have a great night. Well, it's my night here. You guys have a great rest of your day, whatever you got going on. If it's 1 a.m., which seems to be the typical kind of schedule that people watching streams tend to do, it's got to be after 1 a.m. to watch a stream. Go get some sleep. Go get some rest, guys. And I'll see you in the next one. So thanks again for coming in. And Catherine, you have a great night as well. All of you creepy non-talkers. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm calling you out. All right, I'll see you later, guys. And thanks again for stopping in. Later.